In 2022, an AI startup raised $75 million in a single afternoon. They had no product and no revenue. They secured the capital using only a pitch deck and the claim that their software was powered by GPT. 12 months later, the money was gone. The team scattered. The product died. All that remained was a frozen website, abandoned mid-pivot. And they were not alone. Investors poured $50 billion into a massive stampede, funding nearly any company that promised to automate text-based human labor. Yet, despite this record-breaking influx of capital, we are currently living through the largest and fastest tech startup graveyard in history. High-profile unicorns with billion-dollar valuations quickly hit a wall. Jasper quietly laid off staff and restructured. Inflection AI saw its founders and core teams swallowed by Microsoft and what looked suspiciously like a disguised acqui-hire. Stability AI faced severe financial turbulence. This chart shows the valuation trajectory of AI startups over the last few years. Following that massive initial spike, we hit a jagged cliff. Beneath the headline casualties, hundreds of smaller startups simply vanished, leaving behind nothing but expired web domains. It turns out an incredible 90-second demo does not equal a viable, lasting business. So why did these seemingly magical products actually die? The core illusion of the 2022 AI boom is that most founders weren't actually engineering artificial intelligence. This diagram shows a wrapper app. A startup writes a prompt, calls OpenAI's interface, and packages the response in a sleek design. This allowed founders to launch complex-seeming products, like AI assistants or tutors, over a single weekend. The speed of development was intoxicating for both builders and investors, but it masked an extreme vulnerability. These businesses were built entirely on a foundation owned by a competing tech giant. When you rent your core technology, you eliminate your ability to control your own product survival or dictate your own pricing. Silicon Valley has a specific term for this severe platform dependency. They call it getting OpenAI'd. Here is how it works in practice. A startup raises $20 million to build an AI that can read and summarize PDFs. A few months later, ChatGPT natively integrates PDF reading, completely wiping out the startup's entire product thesis overnight. Image generation startups were crushed the moment DALL-E 3 shipped. Coding assistants were instantly undercut when Microsoft rolled GitHub Copilot into the standard developer workflow for free. When a startup's entire value proposition can be erased by a routine feature update from their landlord, their failure is a mathematical certainty. 3 specific business failures compounded this technical vulnerability. First, startups optimized for the pitch. They confused a magical demo with a reliable, accurate tool that users would actually pay for every single day. Second, the unit economics were brutal. Every single API call cost the startup money. Unlike traditional software, scaling up your user base meant scaling up your financial losses proportionally. Finally, they lacked a proprietary data moat. Because they relied entirely on rented models, these startups had no unique information to train on. Any competitor could instantly replicate their outputs. Injecting massive venture funding into companies that lacked basic unit economics and unique data transformed temporary market hype into an inevitable collapse. The market has since corrected. Venture capital sobered up, and the demands shifted from massive theoretical user bases to defensible profit margins and real retention. The companies that survived this crash share a defining structural trait. They prioritized extreme vertical depth over horizontal breadth. Take the AI legal assistant, Harvey. They built a moat by embedding into a hyper-specific niche. They train exclusively on elite, private legal workflows. General foundation models simply cannot access this kind of closed-off, regulated data. The second protective layer is profound workflow integration. When enterprise software embeds deeply enough into a company's daily operations, removing it becomes painful and costly. Survival in the AI era requires creating extreme switching costs through specialized, proprietary data and entrenched operational routines. Every major tech bubble, from the dot-com crash to crypto, follows this exact arc. The irrational exuberance flushes out, leaving room for a quiet, focused build phase. The magical hype phase of artificial intelligence is definitively over. We are returning to ruthless traditional software business fundamentals. The ultimate winners of this revolution will not be the startups with the flashiest rented technology. They will be the ones that architect the strongest underlying business realities.